now to talk about all these glorious things happening within our border patrol, within our military, at the border, everything that's concerning this immigration invasion that took place for 4 years, which is now going to take years to undo. Two of my favorite border guys. New title here, love it. Senior Advisor to U.S. Customs and Border Protections, Ron Vitiello, and retired Special H.S.I. and ICE agent, Victor Avila. Again, two of my favorite guys. How you doing, gentlemen?
Hey, Dan.
Great to be with you.
Nice to see you. Well, let's start with Vic. Victor, you know it's a dangerous job. We've mentioned it time and time again. You lost your partner years ago. You yourself were shot. We are now sending our special forces down to train Mexican military to try and help take out cartel members. This is interesting. How's that going to go? You've been face to face with the cartel and took a bullet for this country.
Well, the best part about this news, Dan, is that who we're teaming up with, and this is La Marina, the Marines, which is like the highly trusted military force in Mexico. You're not talking about the Army here. You're talking about good vetted soldiers in Mexico. And this is a good thing. This is, I believe, is the groundwork that's being set up by the Trump administration for something that might be necessary. Maybe it's not. But at least we're going to be trained. We're already flying drones over Mexico. We're doing flights over Mexico, overtly, by the way, and getting a lot of intel on the super labs, intel on a lot of things that's going on in Mexico. And this is the preparation that I think a lot of us have been waiting for after the declaration of the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And so this is a step forward. And I think Mexico is, Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, is caught between AMLO and following their ideology, and between Trump, trying to appease Trump, because they know that they don't have a lot of choices on the other side. So Mexico is in a lot of conflict right now internally as to what the decisions that they're making, but we're going to see what happens in the next few weeks.
Ron, next one to you, your boss. She's throwing down the gauntlet. You heard that message. I'm sure that's a memo you all got in your office, right? If you're here illegally, we're going to hunt you down and we're going to deport your ass. Please expand on your boss's message.
Yeah, unequivocally. You talked about the numbers at the border. Secretary Noem has been forceful in meeting the agents, meeting the folks at ICE and CBP, finding out what they need and what they're going to do under this president's reign, if you will. This administration has given us the tools that we need. Our friends in the military, our friends at the State Department, our friends at the Department of Justice, all working in tandem to secure that border and make it safe for the front line, obviously, make it safe for the border communities, and make safe streets in America the thing we strive for again. And so, yeah, this video going out to the sending countries, to the transit points, unequivocal message. If you come here, you're not going to get in. If you do get in, you're going to get deported right away. If you're in the country already, then it's time to start packing your bags. And we're seeing this on social media. We're seeing people self-deporting. We're seeing the numbers at CBP, sometimes some on the northern border, a lot on the southern border. People are electing, they're choosing with their feet not to get a knock at the door, and they're going home on their own.
$175 billion with a B. I'll throw this to both of you. Ron, you're the guy in the office now, so maybe you kick this one off. How will this cash help to alleviate the problems that we're facing because of illegals? And I'll throw up one of the latest headlines, because we all know Lake and Riley, the different people that have been killed or injured or robbed, or like this latest one, transgender illegal charged with raping 14-year-old boy in a bathroom in New York City. I'm sick and tired of these headlines, and I know there's bad American criminals that are doing the same exact crimes. I'm not saying there isn't. But these crimes shouldn't be happening because these people shouldn't be here. So how is this cash, and where should it be used, more importantly, to stop this from happening? Ron, you kick it off, and Vic, you take it from there.
Well, having complete situational awareness at the border, having operational control of the border is expensive. That's a lot of money, but it's going to backstop what the president and Secretary Noem have already done, right? The instruction is to seal the border and make sure we know what's going on down there. So that backstopping action by Congress to pay down, some of the investments that have been made already, what the front line has done, needs a backstop now. And that's going to be very expensive, but it's also great value to the American public, right? You're going to have a secure border, which will lead to safer streets in America.
Yeah, and how do we get that money out there to make those streets safer? Vic, you've been there, out on the streets. Talk about that, how this cash can directly get out there, help these agents to get these bad guys off the streets and keep our communities and our kids safe.
Well, it's not just personnel. A lot of people think it's going to be for bodies, but believe it or not, there's a lot of equipment and technology that we need out there. There's a lot of contracts out there pending for new technology that is incredible. Some that have been shared with me that, wow, I wish that we had it at the border. But even Secretary Noem was out there. Some of these vehicles are so old, they need new tires, they need new vehicles. Believe it or not, all that type of equipment that our border agents need, not just Border Patrol, but I.C.E, H.S.I, they're going to need this equipment as they start hitting the streets. But one side note really quick, because I wanted to share this with you on remittances, speaking of money, Mexico, the illegals in the United States from Mexico alone sent almost $65 billion in 2024 to Mexico. 40% of that money goes to one town in San Cristobal de las Casas, right by Chiapas area, which I thought was incredible. They got $95 million. This is another point that the reason I bring it up is because they're going to be hurting Mexico. They're depending on in their gross domestic product of that money from the U.S. that's no longer going to be heading back to them. And this puts a good strain. That's good for us, but it puts a strain on Mexico to make the right decisions for them.
Yeah, exactly. Mexico needs us desperately. Let's be real. I hate when people go, oh, Mexico could be fine without America. Really? I don't think so. You need our cash. Ron, final one to you. You heard that story I read about the NGO having to now close down in San Diego, where OAN's based, because there's no more folks there. There's no more people getting the free welcome mat with free taxpayer cash when they're here illegally. Are we going to see, thanks to the Trump administration and thanks to your boss, Noem, cracking down on these NGOs that have been helping to facilitate bringing in the illegals from other countries? Like they're working, we've heard about the Darien Gap. You and I, all three of us, we've talked about it for the last 4 years. The NGOs are down in other countries helping to get them to the Mexico-American border. Then they're at the border on both sides with water stations and tents, helping them get them over here. Then they've got camps set up to put them in when they get here. I mean, this is a racket. Is that going to go away now, Ron?
Yes, the nonsense is ending. More winning for the American public, right? We're going to stop funding our own demise. We're going to stop sending FEMA money to operate shelters in the United States, which encourage more people to come here. And so these NGOs are now out of the business of facilitating the illegal invasion that you talked about early in the segment. So that's ending. The nonsense is over. More winning for the American people, and shelters like this, good riddance. Let's put them all out of business. Let's control that border and end the threats that you talked about earlier in this segment as well. Amen.
It's called America First. That's what President Trump ran on. That's why he won by over 10 million extra votes. Victor Avila, retired H.S.I. ICE special agent, and our good friend Ron Vitiello, senior advisor, U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Gentlemen, as always, thank you for coming on Real America. Appreciate you guys.